begin with a look at the White House as people around the world focus on the U.S. tonight. The votes are in, the count is underway, and it's still too early to call. Good evening, I'm Jason Gaidola.
And I'm Emily Taylor, and welcome to a special live 11 p.m. newscast as we track the results of the U.S. election. It
has been a long day with lineups at polling stations, and many of us are still on the edge of our seat as we await the results of what surely will be a historic election, no matter the outcome. Still early, but here's a look at some of the numbers being reported this hour. Right now, Trump with the lead with 207 electoral votes. Harris is said to have 91. Now, these are just projections, not official results, but several media outlets are reporting Trump is in the lead.
So many of us are watching this election closely tonight, and joining us now to break down the very latest is political analyst Keith Leslie. Hi, Keith. After weeks of polling showing the race being too close to call, we're now seeing Republican candidate Donald Trump take the lead. Is this something you saw coming, and do you see him winning this presidency?
Well, it's a very early lead, isn't it? And of course, there's still a lot more results to come in. What we can see so far, though, is that the polls were pretty bang on. This is an extremely close race. Where we're seeing Donald Trump do the best seems to be in the rural areas. He's winning the states he was expected to win. And basically, it's coming down to those 7 battleground states that we hear so much about. And in the one in Georgia right now, Trump has a lead, a sizable lead by vote count. But he had that same sizable lead last time in 2020. And of course, remember, Georgia was the very state that he ended up begging for 11,789 votes. So even though he's in the lead right now, doesn't mean he's going to hold Georgia. But right now, Trump does seem to have a little bit of a lead over Harris overall.
So I want to ask about what this would all mean for Canada and Ontario. First, if Trump wins the presidency.
Well, if Trump wins, of course, I mean, there's just the big scare is that he's been talking nonstop about tariffs. He's going to impose tariffs on every country, including Canada. And there's other things, you know, there's always a dispute over softwood lumber. But those tariffs, I mean, if he puts 10% tariffs on every Canadian product, the United States buys 75% of what Canada produces. That could be a 5% hit to our GDP, according to economists. And that's a huge thing. So if Trump actually wins, fiscally, it could be very, very hard on Canada and many other countries.
And Keith, what about Harris? What will happen with Canada and Ontario should she take the presidency?
Well, I think it would be a little bit easier to have a more of a business-like relationship with Harris. She's still going to push Canada on things like softwood lumber. I think is always going to be an issue of dispute between Canada and the United States. But I think Harris would be much more tolerant and business-like, whereas Trump is going to threaten us, you get a 10% tariff unless you do this or unless you do that the way he wants it to be.
And like you said, we're still in early hours for this polling. What are you watching for tonight?
Well, for the most part, we're waiting to see, you know, can Kamala Harris build up? We know that when she gets to California and the West Coast, I mean, there's 54 electoral college votes in California. That's a huge help to her. But right now, she's so far behind. And is she, you know, is it misogyny? Is it people staying home? Or is it Republicans? Is it people that just decided, you know what? We looked at 4 more years of Donald Trump and thought, what the heck? Let's have 4 more years of Donald Trump. So right now for Harris, it's hard to tell what's holding her back, but she's still got a lot of ground to make up, even with those guaranteed, you know, 54 seats in California or 54 electoral college votes in California.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Keith. We're going to check back in again with you soon, just later in the newscast. That's Keith Leslie, our political analyst.
Talk later.
Here in Canada, some Americans visiting Niagara Falls had already made up their mind on who they want to see in the White House. We sent our Sean Cowan down to the border today to see how they were feeling about the big vote.
The opinions on the U.S. election are just as diverse as the people visiting Niagara Falls today.
I am not a racist bigot, so I voted for Harris.
Yeah, we're Trump, 100%.
The security, make sure it's all done right.
Who'd you vote for?
Female.
Voted for Republican because, for me, Kamala Harris already had 4 years to make changes.
Justin and Haley are visiting from the Boston area, and Justin voted before their trip north. But why was it important for you to vote early?
Because I'd like to own a house someday, and at this rate, it's not looking great.
Haley, on the other hand, decided not to vote.
It's just like a lot of hectic energy going around. It's either like, oh, vote for Trump or vote for Kamala, and like, especially like on Facebook, just people like getting in fights with each other all day, every day.
And that divisiveness was echoed with people we spoke with today.
It depends if you're a Democrat or a Republican. There's a lot of controversy with the election, but, you know, definitely been keeping everybody very interested.
I'm concerned about how it's going to affect Canada, and my family's down there.
Oh man, they're sure divided. They're primed for bad things. They're divided so bad.
Some Americans are saying it's a nice break to visit Canada during their election.
Watching the football game last night where we didn't see any political ads. There was no attack ads in between touchdowns.
And just like a football game, this election may go into overtime. You think will happen tonight?
I have no idea what happens tonight, but I might find myself staying.
Sean Cowan, CHCH News, Niagara Falls.
We're going to be speaking with a reporter at Democratic candidate Kamala Harris's campaign in Washington, D.C. shortly. But first, let's take a look at some local stories here in the Golden Horseshoe. Fire officials in Burlington are estimating $2 million worth of damage today after a townhouse fire early this morning. One man was injured and was taken to hospital. Al Sweeney has the details.
Neighbors tell us the man who was injured in this fire has serious leg burns. But officials say this is a case where alarms worked and did their job, and other people were able to get away from the fire without injury. Witnesses say the fire started with an explosion when it broke out at this townhouse complex.
Giant ball of fire was reaching into the sky, pops, crackling.
The fire department got the call just before 1:30 with part of the building in flames when they got there.
Crews responded, and upon their arrival, they were met with heavy fire conditions. We had multiple units arrive on scene, approximately 10 units.
And 2 aerial ladder trucks. The fire was out within hours, but damaged several units in this complex.
The fire did go into the attic space, which caused several units to be affected by the fire in the attic.
One person was injured and taken to hospital, but no one else was hurt.
This is a perfect example as to why we insist that people change their batteries and ensure that they have working smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors.
Fire officials say people who live in the complex were waiting outside when firefighters arrived after being alerted by alarms, which they say saved lives in this case.
We had audible alarms going when we arrived, and there was nobody in the buildings, so people had self-evacuated.
So that's just what you want to hear,
That's
right?
just what we want to hear. Just what we want to see for the safety of our community.
This is the second townhouse fire in Burlington in less than a month. CHCH reported last month that investigators suspected arson in a fire that broke out at a townhouse complex on Appleby Line on October 11th, with reports of a man running from the scene with a gas can. That same townhouse complex was hit by fire a year before. But police say those townhouses were under construction, and this latest fire doesn't appear suspicious.
Not under construction. This is an established townhouse complex. Again, the only similarity was that it is a townhouse complex itself, but it is not a new build. It's an established build in that neighborhood.
The fire marshal's office was trying to determine the cause of this latest fire.
We are here to investigate and conduct an origin, cause, and circumstance investigation, and it's in the preliminary stages at this time.
So we're also told that some of the people in the complex had pets with them when the fire broke out. Apparently, some of the pets got out okay, but we're told there are some pets missing, and officials were waiting today to see if they turn up.
The Ontario government is increasing the financial assistance available to veterans and their families, as well as making GO Transit free for them. Ontario is making changes to the Honoring Veterans Act that will increase the amount of money that eligible veterans and their families can access from $2,000 annually to $3,000. The money can be used to pay for essential services and supports.
They teach what they know
to. These enhancements will help the Soldiers' Aid Commission continue to support our heroes as well as their families as they transition to civilian life in communities across the province. Our veterans stepped up when we needed them. They had our backs, and as always, we will have theirs. Because our veterans, as I said, are heroes, and even heroes need some help sometimes.
The province also says it is exploring opportunities to partner with municipalities to give veterans access to housing and housing supports.
And a quick reminder for our viewers, next Monday on Remembrance Day, CHCH will be live once again from the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum. Please join us for the largest indoor ceremony paying tribute to our veterans. It begins live and uninterrupted at 10:30 a.m. And don't forget, CHCH Morning Live will be live from the museum talking to veterans about their experiences. That begins at 6 a.m.
Checking back in on the U.S. election, we're getting an update on some numbers. Once again, it's still early, so keep that in mind. But at the last check, Trump is still leading with 211 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 145. These are just projections, not official numbers. But Trump is still out in the front at this hour.
And we're going to take you live now to an election watch party in Hamilton. Roger Collins is with the Democrats abroad at the George Hamilton in the downtown core. Roger, how is the mood there right now?
Well, Emily, these away-from-home Americans are certainly eager to find out who their next president's going to be. I've been by their side most of the night, watching them react to the results as they roll in. Here's what they had to say.
I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, and I now live in Ancaster.
Watching the election results pour in while living in Canada, how does that feel?
Very anxious. You know, it's one thing to be there, living there and experiencing it, but being away from it, it gets a little more secondhand news versus really experiencing what it's like to be there.
And where are you originally from?
Virginia.
And how are you feeling tonight watching the election results roll in?
I'm waiting for the West Coast, and I was working yesterday in Erie. I was talking to people, and I talked to a lot of older women who had been Republicans who said they were going to vote for Harris this time because the behavior of the Republican Party towards women has not been very positive, has been very scary and negative to women all across the country who've lost their reproductive freedom. And as one woman I campaigned with said, you don't usually have your rights taken away as an adult woman.
I'm from Ancaster here, grew up in Tecumseh, Michigan.
And how are you feeling tonight watching the results roll in?
A little too nervous. I was hoping they would not be so tolerant of Mr. Trump's antics. So, I don't know, it's politics. I guess all is fair in politics.
Well, this is my 14th presidential election, and it's no less important to me than the first one, and it's probably more important to me because there's never been another one like it. I think the balance of much of the future lies in what happens tonight.
Everyone here is certainly excited to find out what's going to happen. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you very much, Roger. That's Roger Collins reporting live. Now we're going to take you live to Washington, D.C. Reporter Brian Abel is at the Harris campaign headquarters and joins us with more. Brian, tell us what the mood like is there right now.
Be posted at 11:55, just before midnight.
Yeah, it feels like there's a little bit of a plateau with the energy here at Howard University. Vice President Kamala Harris's alma mater. The yard here is still pretty full. There was DJ and music earlier, but now we are listening to returns as they start to come in, and that's kind of given a little bit of a pause here at Harris election headquarters. We have heard from the campaign as well, guys.
Getting closer to it, and these mail-in ballots have been posted at 11:55.
Now, this has obviously been a unique election cycle. Harris becoming the nominee just a few months ago. How has she defined herself to her voters?
Yeah, she's really trying to define herself as a generational candidate, one that can bring the Democratic Party into the next generation, kind of a baton handoff, will not be a continuation of the Joe Biden policies. And she has said, she has promised that her policies of her administration, if she were to become president, would be focused on lifting up the middle class. And she's also promised to uphold traditions of democracy, something that she believes contrasts herself well against her opponent, former President Donald Trump.
Thank you very much, Brian. And a quick note, we will connect with a reporter live at the Trump campaign headquarters in Florida as well. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
And we're also watching the weather live this hour as well. Shelley Marriage keeping track of the forecast for us this evening. Hi, Shelley.
Hey, Emily. Well, very warm. I mean, the average daytime high for this time of the year is 9 degrees. And you know what time it is right now? Look at this, 17 to 21, just after 11 p.m. So very mild. We're in for another at least 24 hours of above seasonal temperatures, doubling what it should be for this time of the year. Now, after midnight, this system bringing some rain to northern Ontario will affect most of southern Ontario. There's a 60% chance of showers after midnight for the early morning hours, but should tape off by mid-morning, and then some sunshine for the rest of the day. So if you're heading out for a night shift tonight, 17 degrees, yeah, very mild with that risk of rain after midnight, gusty winds out of the southwest, so keep that in mind. That's it for now. Back to the desk.
Thanks so much, Shelley. All right, we'll check back in with her shortly, and we have lots more election coverage coming up for you tonight. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Program is brought to you in part by the Ancaster BIA. Discover the Village, your ultimate destination for every need. Shop, dine, explore.
Tired of flipping channels? Flip to the Bird. A new streaming option for Canadians is landing soon. Be the first to know and become an insider at signup.parrot.tv.
Dayside is your local window and door manufacturer for over 60 years.
We make and install, you get it all. Dayside Windows.
Most of our clients who come through our door and who are suffering from mental illness, they're feeling a sense of despair and a longing for help. Often, insurance companies are denying disability claims on the basis that there's insufficient medical evidence. We've represented hundreds of clients who suffer from anxiety or depression. We fight for our clients' right to receive the compensation they deserve. If you've been denied long-term disability, don't give up. We can help.
Your long-term disability firm, Contact Law.
Black Friday just isn't the same at Sleep Country. Except for the amazing deals, like buy one, get one free on pillows, mattresses starting at $349, and don't pay until 2027, only at Sleep Country.
Do you want to see something wonderful? Nothing like you've ever seen before? Something so amazing, you can't find the words to describe it. Famous People Players Dine and Dream Theater. The show is amazing, and the food is yummy. It's where special happens. Meet Canada's goodwill ambassadors to the world. Book now at famouspeopleplayers.com. You're gonna love it.
And welcome back. Let's bring in Shelley Marriage again with another check on the forecast. Hey, Shelley.
Hey, well, we just showed Niagara Falls there, so let's have a look at the temperature and the conditions. Well, you could see it was pretty clear. 21 degrees in Niagara Falls, St. Catharines 20. We're looking at 18 currently in Hamilton, 21 in Simcoe, 17 in Cayuga. So this just gives you an idea of how warm it is if you are indoors, of course, watching us right now, but very warm indeed. It should be 9 for this time of the year. And, well, tomorrow night that will change as our winds are going to shift. We're going to have a northwesterly flow, and that will usher in some much cooler air. We're looking at 17 in Toronto, mostly cloudy right now. Current conditions, John C. Munro Airport, winds out of the south-southwest. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a risk of rain, but that will happen after midnight. Pearson International, 17 degrees as well. Those winds out of the south-southeast. Tomorrow we'll have a westerly flow, then shifting northwesterly, and again, that's what will change our temperatures for us. So tonight, our lows will range from 19 to 17. So I showed you what it is now. Now we're looking at dropping 5 to 7 degrees. That's about it. Still well above seasonal overnight. And a quick look at our almanac for tomorrow. As you've realized, our sun is setting a lot sooner. Our last light of the day will be 5:34, and your morning commute, there is a risk of some lingering showers, especially in and around the Niagara region. We're looking at 17 to 18 as our temperatures, and a daytime high tomorrow of 20. So pretty much what we felt today, we'll feel tomorrow, could even be higher than 20 in some areas, and we'll have those gusty winds tomorrow throughout the day out of the west, but then we'll shift northwesterly overnight. So again, a chance of lingering showers in the morning, some sunshine by the afternoon. 20 could even be 22 22 degrees. We could have record-breaking temperatures and a low tomorrow of 8. So you could see a difference, 17 overnight tonight, and then tomorrow overnight, 8 degrees. That's it for me. Back to you, Jason.
Thank you very much, Shelley. We'll also have more election coverage down in the U.S., but coming up after the break, no Austin Matthews, no problem. The Maple Leafs took on the Boston Bruins in Toronto tonight. That's coming up in sports next.
Weather Report is brought to you by Cogeco's fiber-powered internet and TV offer. Made for the hammer. Super reliable, super local, super fast. Sundays on CHCH.
Welcome to Wheel of Fortune.
Let's play Jeopardy.
Let the games begin.
Here we go.
Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy! UK editions. Back-to-back Sundays starting at 8. Only on CHCH.
Many of us are suffering, and I can hear the moan. Because nobody can make it out here alone.
The future is not just going to happen. You have to make it. And if you want a successful business, all it takes is an idea, and now becomes a future where you grew a dream into a reality. The all-new GoDaddy Aero. Put your business online in minutes with the power of AI.
A courtside legend is born. The Raptor Chicken Nacho Poutine with seasoned chicken, tortilla strips, and nacho cheese sauce. Legendary. Get your claws on it.
Sorry, sweetie, but we do have car and home insurance with Bel Air Direct, so it's all good. Plus, we're saving hundreds.
So enough for you to my house?
Saving on car and home insurance with Bel Air Direct is simpler than playtime.
There once was a tree lovingly made to look real. Yet looking real wasn't enough. It wanted to be real. One night it wondered, where are my roots? And an answer came. Oh, you have them. Your roots will grow within the hearts of all who gather around you as you help create very real memories. And for the first time, the tree felt real joy.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Visit us at Goodnight Good Morning, located in beautiful Bronte, for all your sports, nursing, and everyday bra needs. Fitting cups A to K.
Welcome back. We're going to start by heading south of the border. CNN reporter Michael Yoshida is live at the Trump campaign headquarters in West Palm Beach, Florida tonight. Michael, thanks for joining us. Polling is still coming in, but so far many media outlets have Trump in the lead. What is the atmosphere like there inside the Trump headquarters right now?
Hey, good to be with you, Emily. As you can imagine, a lot of excitement, energy here at Trump headquarters. Thousands packing the convention center here in West Palm. But at this point, we're also hearing that those inside the Trump campaign feeling increasingly optimistic as they see some of those initial numbers start to roll in. A lot of that optimism coming from early results in Virginia and Iowa. And when we see some of those early projections, those early updates on the screens throughout the convention center, no surprise. A lot of roars, a lot of excitement, a lot of cheers by the supporters here. We do know a short distance away at Mar-a-Lago, the former president's gathered with some of his close family members, his close friends, watching these early results. Again, feeling increasingly optimistic. And while those here at the convention center anxiously await the results of some of the results to pour in, they're also anxiously waiting to see if and when the former president may make his way over here to speak to them this evening or potentially, early this morning.
Have you heard anything from the campaign tonight? What are they saying they're watching for?
For sure. So some senior advisors to the former president as well as the campaign saying at this point some of the things that they're watching for include obviously the turnout, but also what they've seen among Latino voter support. Senior advisors to the former president touting the number of Latino voters they say that are breaking for Trump, particularly Latino men. This has been a big focus of the campaign this cycle, trying to chip away at that traditionally a Democratic voting bloc. It's been a big effort of their ground operation, especially in a lot of those key battleground states. So that's just one of the metrics as they're seeing some of these early numbers roll in that, again, is leading to increased optimism both within the campaign and here at Trump headquarters in the Watch Party.
I wanted to ask, with those 7 big swing states, is the campaign expecting to sweep them?
I'm kind of sleeping on the switch suddenly, eh?
So at this point, it's one of those things where they're watching anxiously, trying to get a feel for what the numbers are saying. Everyone at this point waiting for new batches of votes to make their way in. At this point, it seems, according to all the data we're seeing, still too close to call on all of those battleground states.
So you mentioned that Trump is watching nearby with family. He's not there tonight. Is Vance there in the crowd as well?
So we're told that the former president is joined by family, friends. We know RFK Jr. You can hear a lot of excitement here as it looks like another projection, at least according to one of the media outlets, was put up on the screen, are with him at Mar-a-Lago. We also just got a new update that Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, expected to make his way over to Mar-a-Lago at some point, either this evening or early in the morning hours, to be with the former president. So a lot of his support, both politicians and just, you know, your everyday Americans who are here to support the former president.
You can really hear the energy in the room. Thanks so much, Michael. That's CNN's Michael Yoshida live from Palm Beach, Florida. All right, we're going to take a look at projections for the election so far by state now. As you can see at this point, Trump is still leading, but there are several states to call. And what we are not the official results. But when it comes to electoral votes, Trump appears to have the most right now. The candidates are aiming for 270. That's the magic number tonight to claim the presidency.
Despite the U.S. election, it was business as usual in the world of sports. Tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs hosted divisional rivals, the Boston Bruins, at Scotiabank Arena. The Buds were without key star Austin Matthews tonight, but that didn't seem to matter. Second period, Mitch Marner buys time on the power play, setting up Morgan Riley, firing a wrist shot past Bruins netminder Jeremy Swayman. Watch this goal, top shelf. That's Riley's 4th goal on the season. 1-0 Toronto. And just over a minute later, Leafs on the power play again. Nylander picks up the puck on the wing, and he shoots it from a very sharp angle. Gets redirected off Brandon Carlo. And that would do it. Leafs would go up, and they would take this game 4-0. Big win tonight in Toronto. Hamilton's Forge FC are set to depart for Calgary, where they will face Calvary FC in the CPL finals on Saturday. The team is encouraging fans to help send off the team in style. A rally will be held at Tim Hortons Field tomorrow morning. Our Louis Butko caught up with head coach Bobby Smirniotis after practice today.
I think it's that week that you enjoy. It's a period to have some fun, get ourselves engaged, energized, and ready to go. You play the season to make sure that you're in this game. We've been able to do that. Over the last 5 years. This will be number 6. So we know the path to get there, and we know what we have in front of us.
I was about to say, you've mentioned that a couple times. The journey, the path, just show you how to get there. Going into Calgary, what do you expect from a Cavalry team and a coach you know well?
Obviously, a lot of excitement. They're hosting a final. They're trying to get a trophy that they haven't had now in 5 years. So there's a lot to do there in front of their own crowd, and them deciding on what kind of football they're going to play. We'll get out there a couple of days early, see what the pitch is like, and see what we need to alter in our game plan. But the teams know each other well. It's not something new. We've played each other recently, and these games are all about details. We've seen that in every playoff game so far in the CPL. They're quite different than the regular season games, and that's what I expect on Saturday as well.
You've won the North Star Cup here. Now you're going to have to do it on the road to do it, but what would it mean to bring back that trophy, having already won one? But what would it mean bringing back the trophy here to the fans of Forge FC in Hamilton?
Yeah, it's always a fantastic feeling. You play the game, you win a championship, you have that excitement, but then when you see the fans and you see some of our fans that have been here since year one, and each and every year we've been able to give them something to cheer about, and it's it's why you play the game. Otherwise, I always say it's 22 guys running around on the pitch. You know, it's the fans that make all the energy. It makes this place a great place to play, and you know, we'll go do what we did in 2019 and try and bring a trophy home from Calgary.
Good luck.
And in other sports news, in case you noticed, there were no NBA games tonight as part of the league initiative to encourage fans to get out and vote in the U.S. Meanwhile, the NBA has suspended 76ers star Joel Embiid 3 games after he pushed a reporter this weekend. And Dallas Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones says quarterback Dak Prescott is likely headed to the injured reserve list with a hamstring injury.
And don't go too far. We'll continue our U.S. election coverage, which includes Premier Doug Ford urging whoever gets elected president to work with its Canadian partners. That's next.
This program brought to you in part by Marquee Gardens. Celebrate the holiday season at any of our 3 locations with great food and magical moments. Visit marqueegardens.com.
Most men will develop symptoms of BPH. To reduce these symptoms, try Super Beta Prostate. Finally, less urges to urinate. Super Beta Prostate. Find it at these fine retailers.
There are some feelings you can get with any sports book. The highs! No. The no-no-nos. Oh! The oh-oh-ohs. Now, what you want to do with this? But the feeling that no matter what, you're taken care of. That feels good. You only get that here at the sportsbook Born in Vegas, where they know how to treat you right. Who you talking to, JB Fox?
Download the BetMGM app. BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas.
I'm saving over $1,300 with TD Insurance for being an engineer who bundles home and auto.
Wow, Kofi, you should have your own billboard.
With over 30 ways to save, real value starts with TD Insurance. TD, ready for you.
Here's to sharing a little joy. Little makes a big difference with Dr. Edgar.
Want relief from cold and flu symptoms? Try Mucinex Multi-Action Congestion Cold and Cough Solution. 1 dose fights 9 cold and flu symptoms for multi-symptom relief. And look for our other Mucinex Multi-Action products, available in liquid or caplet form.
Join us for Remembrance Day ceremonies from the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum. November 11th at 10:30 on CHCH, Lest We Forget. Presented in part by the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum, where every day is Remembrance Day.
We all play a role in keeping our roundabouts safe. Remember, before you enter a roundabout, slow down and yield to pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists.
America is ready for a fresh start. Ready for a new way forward where we see our fellow American not as an enemy, but as a neighbor.
Together we will save this country, this great country that we love. We will defeat the corrupt system in Washington, because I'm not running against Kamala. I'm running against an evil Democrat system. These are evil people.
Welcome back. Those were the candidates last night as they wrapped up their campaigns. Right now, it looks like Trump is leading tonight, but there are still many votes to count. Meanwhile, Premier Doug Ford says no matter what the outcome is in tonight's U.S. election, he wants to see Canada and the U.S. work together on trade rather than promote domestic policies.
We should be promoting the Buy K&M approach that creates new jobs and opportunities for workers and businesses on both sides of the border, including...
That was Premier Doug Ford earlier today giving a speech at the Economic Club of Canada in Ottawa. The Premier says he's ready to get to work with American partners. The Canada-United States-Mexico agreement is going to be up for review in 2026. One provincial official said earlier today that Ontario had already signed agreements with certain northern states like Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois.
Kamala Harris is extremely qualified, but we're also very nervous about what could happen if Trump wins or if Trump tries to challenge the election if it doesn't go his way, which he's already indicated that he wants to do. So there definitely is a lot of nerves and a lot of anxiety, which is totally warranted and totally fair. But at the same time, there's a lot of hope, and we're really hoping for a brighter future where we can turn the page on this dark decade of Donald Trump and chart a new way forward.
Also today, Canadian Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly said since securing their last trilateral trade agreement, the Trudeau government is in a better spot in future negotiations.
Officials in Philadelphia are refuting Trump's claims of voter fraud after the Republican candidate posted on social media saying there was massive cheating in the city.
The truth is that there is no evidence to substantiate that there has been any kind of cheating that is of any significance at all. That's the bottom line. And we certainly hope that in a democracy, people are going to accept whatever the actual outcome of that election is.
Earlier this evening, Trump made this post on Truth's social accounts, marking the allegations without any evidence. Philadelphia's city commissioner says he's been in touch with the Republican National Committee and that they would follow up on any specific allegations brought forward. A mostly smooth election day nationwide was marred in multiple battleground states by a series of bomb threats. The bomb threats in parts of Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania turned out to be hoaxes, but forced evacuations and some polling places to extend hours. Polls have now closed in those states, though Georgia has warned the disruption could make counting a little slower tonight. The FBI said many of Tuesday's hoax bomb threats appear to have originated from Russian email domains.
Still ahead tonight, according to a new report, more Hamiltonians are dying prematurely than a decade ago. We'll have those details next.
Yes, it's Password.
Betty White, nice to have you in Password.
Thank you, Alan. Nice to be here.
TV's most beloved celebrity game show is back with Jimmy Fallon and brand new host Kiki Palmer.
Please welcome the beautiful Heidi Klum, J.B. Sloan, Chelsea Handler. We're all here to play Password.
Password, Sundays at 10. To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
I'm saving over $1,300 with TD Insurance for being an engineer who bundles home and auto.
Wow, Kofi, you should have your own billboard.
With over 30 ways to save, real value starts with TD Insurance. TD. Ready for you.
Welcome to Critelli's Furniture, home to Canada's greatest rug show and sale. A place where you can explore the endless selection of genuine hand-knotted rugs from the world's finest weavers. Take advantage of our best savings of the year. Admire the luxury, design, and feel of our fine hand-knotted rugs of all sizes. A truly tailored experience is waiting for you at the Critelli Rug Market, where Southern Ontario's furniture and rug design experts will provide you with exceptional service. Only at Critelli's Furniture.
As you age, your vision may change and your eyes may start to suffer. If you're struggling with cataracts or age-related macular degeneration, you can help maintain your eyesight. New Nordic's Blueberry Strong Tablet contains European blueberries and lutein from marigold flowers to help improve macular pigment optical density and help maintain eyesight in conditions such as AMD and cataracts. Blueberry Strong from New Nordic.
Let me guess.
2 $1 coffees, please.
Small $1 coffee or $2 latte. On now at A&W.
Welcome back. Let's return to a local story now. According to a new report from Hamilton Public Health, more Hamiltonians are dying prematurely than a decade ago. The report says in 2021, over 1,900 residents died before the age of 75, and these deaths were preventable. Danielle DeGraw reports.
According to the city's Department of Public Health, the purpose of the report is to identify challenges, look at programming to help, and to coordinate with community partners. It says the report found Hamiltonians had a lower life expectancy compared to the rest of the province.
Hamilton had a lower life expectancy compared to the province, and we looked at the data. And we also saw that increase in premature deaths was largely driven by opioid overdoses.
From the report, the top 5 causes of premature death in Hamilton are ischemic heart disease, lung cancer, poisoning, including opioid deaths, colorectal cancer, and chronic lower respiratory disease. Hamilton Department of Public Health says while they are seeing improvements in chronic diseases in Hamilton, our rates are still worse than the province.
One in particular that we are keeping our eye on is diabetes, because it's kind of opposing those improvements.
Hamilton is seeing poorer health outcomes in lower income areas of the city. This according to the Hamilton Family Health Team.
If you take life expectancy rates in Hamilton's urban core, specifically, particularly in certain pockets across the lower city, you will see life expectancy rates that are upwards of 20 to 21 years shorter than you would in sort of parts of Ancaster, Dundas, and the Hamilton Mountain.
According to Dr. McKenna, the main reason for these discrepancies is a lack of access to primary care. He says current projections see 1 in 4 Canadians will be without a family doctor or nurse practitioner by 2027.
We have a very heartwarming story for you next. A Fort Erie man and his dog have been reunited after a 2-year separation. As Julie Sharp tells us, despite a cancer diagnosis, Mike and Minnie are now a family again.
They say a dog is a man's best friend. And as for Mike Naylor and his dog Minnie, that saying holds true. He says they're not just friends, but family.
Minnie's not a dog. She's my daughter.
But in the fall of 2022, Naylor says he had to make the hardest yet selfless decision of his life: to surrender his dog Minnie to the Humane Society of Greater Niagara because of his battle with cancer.
Her quality of life was deteriorating with me because I could no longer care for her, and so I chose to do the unselfish thing and let her try to have a better life because I couldn't take care of her.
Naylor says he was diagnosed in 2019 and Minnie stood by his side.
When I was down and out, she was always beside me.
Brianna Digman with the Humane Society says Minnie was sad after Mike brought her in.
Minnie was one of the dogs that she was just very sad, I think confused why she was here.
She says Minnie was taken in under a boarding program at the time, which has since been dropped due to a lack of funding.
So it was a program that was offered to people in the community that were struggling. We would offer to board the animals for 30 days, no charge.
Digman says she hopes that the Humane Society will someday be able to get funding to bring back that boarding program so that they can help others like Mike. In 2023, Minnie was adopted by other foster parents, which at that point, Naylor says he initially gave up.
Stop going to treatment, stop going to doctors. I didn't get out of my room.
This now viral video of the two reconnecting came after Minnie was returned to the Humane Society again earlier this year. Naylor learned of that, and with his cancer in remission, on October 21st, the two reunited. Right now, there are about 70 dogs in care waiting for adoption here at the Humane Society of Greater Niagara. As for M&M, Mike, and Minnie, he says they are truly a bond that's unbreakable.
Yeah, you can't break us. You can't. I don't think nobody can.
Julie Sharp, CHCH News, St. Catharines.
Oh, what a heartwarming story. All right, up next, after the break, polls have closed in many states, but the election is still too close to call. We'll have more on the razor-thin margin of error heading into tonight. Stay with us.
Are you urinating more often? Reduce the symptoms of BPH with Super Beta Prostate. It's proven to help you reduce the extra bathroom trips, reduce getting up at night to urinate, and take back control. Get Super Beta Prostate.
Ah, yes. The classic tale of one boy's Christmas wish, now bigger, brighter, and bursting with musical magic. A Christmas Story the Musical at Theatre Aquarius brings your favorite moments to life.
With Wise, Tina can spend and send money in other currencies. Tina's gone.
Moving all around, money head there, everywhere, mother like a sound. Ding, 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 international. Moving all around, money head there, everywhere, mother like a sound.
Wise, the app for doing things in other currencies.
Ding, ding.
We are for pets. We do anything for them because they do everything for us. We are for people, for those who love pets unconditionally. We are for good, from adoptions and veterinary care to disaster relief and fighting pet hunger. We stand together to create a better world for pets and families in need. We are PetSmart Charities of Canada, for pets, for people, for good.
If you spent years building your investments on mutual funds, it may be time to graduate. If you have more than $500,000 of investable assets, there's almost always better options than mutual funds that improve tax efficiency, are cheaper and more specifically customizable. Mutual funds are a perfectly fine way for beginning investors, but Fisher Investments can give you ideas to help you for who you are now.
Call now for your essential guide, 5 Pitfalls of Mutual Funds, with insights from best-selling author and legendary money manager Ken Fisher. Call now, 1-888-663-0850.
At Fisher Investments, we help you with the process of graduating to a better future.
Call for this important guide, 5 Pitfalls of Mutual Funds. You'll learn about their disadvantages and why it may be time for a new approach. Call now.
You can achieve your investment goals, and Fisher Investments can help you get there.
If your portfolio is $500,000 or more, call us, 1-888-663-0850.
Welcome back. Polls have closed in many states, but the election is still too close to call. Leading into Election Day, a CNN poll showed Vice President and Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris with a slight lead over former President and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump among likely voters. But with the margin of error, there was no clear leader heading into today. Jen Sullivan is tracking the races.
Americans at the polls to decide who will win the White House and shape the country's political landscape for the next 4 years.
For Donald Trump.
I voted for Kamala Harris.
These voters casting their ballots Tuesday in Michigan, one of 7 key battleground states that could decide the election. And it's a state that's seen record turnout.
We have seen both extraordinary engagement and turnout.
The number one most important issue to voters, democracy, followed by the economy, according to initial results of CNN's latest national exit poll. Voting kicking off with some serious security concerns, like in Georgia, where officials say several non-credible bomb threats were made at various polling locations, likely originating from Russia.
Georgia's not going to be intimidated.
More than 250 National Guard personnel assisting in 15 states, including Pennsylvania.
We have been dispatching lawyers and police officers and detectives all day to make sure everything was smooth.
Harris, who voted early via mail-in ballot in California, spent Tuesday in Washington, D.C., visiting a phone bank hosted by the Democratic National Committee to speak with likely voters. Trump casting his ballot in West Palm Beach, Florida. The winner will need 270 of the 538 Electoral College votes to clinch the presidency. No matter the outcome, history will be made. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
And with more analysis on tonight's U.S. election, joining us again to help break down the very latest is political analyst Keith Leslie. Keith, Trump holding a considerable lead, but there are some key battlegrounds out there up for grabs. Let's start with Kamala Harris. The polls had them neck and neck prior to tonight, but now she's facing a deficit. If Trump ends up winning, where do you think the Harris campaign went wrong?
Well, clearly in focusing on the hope and not differentiating herself enough from the Biden campaign or the Biden White House years, because it's the economy that's really got people up in arms here. It's not the abortion issue. It's not other ones, the border issue. It's inflation. It's the cost of living that people are going up, and they strongly feel that Trump is the man to do a better job on the economy than Kamala Harris would have been. Right now, we've seen Trump's lead solidify since we talked at the top of the hour, and he's now leading in basically all of the swing states. He's even taken North Carolina, according to CNN. So his lead is looking better and better as we get closer to the count getting done overnight.
Now, in the event if Trump is elected president, he won presidency in 2016, lost in 2020, and now he may be in position again to reclaim it. How do you think his campaign did, and where do you think they went in the right direction?
Well, they stayed focused on the economy, and even though Trump himself would often go way off message and upset people with his rhetoric and his bombastic attacks on other opponents and calling the media and the opponents the enemy from within, for the most part, people just ignored all of that and focused on Trump and the economy. And the Harris campaign, they just didn't do a good enough job of selling her as someone different from Biden. But Trump focused again on his core base. He appealed to people on that basic economy message and on the border message, and it really seems to have worked for him. Again, he's winning not just the Electoral College vote right now, he's also ahead in the popular vote, something that, if it holds true, would be very important to Donald Trump. As you know, he really was upset at not taking that popular vote.
And staying on Trump, there was a report of his campaign team denying credentials to certain media outlets as some form of retaliation for their coverage on him. If elected, what will that relationship look like moving forward?
Oh, who knows? It will only get worse, I think. He's going to be, as our former U.S. Ambassador Frank McKenna said, it's going to be Trump unhinged if he gets a second term, because there's going to be none of the people that restrained him and held him into, the government norms in his first term. There's going to be none of those people around him in the second term. So his relationship with the media is just going to be one thing that's of concern. His relationship with the rest of the world, he's talking about putting tariffs on everybody's products that are sold to the U.S., including Canada's. So that's a big upset. I think Trump will be, very undiplomatic. His election as president will land like a big thud in most of the world.
All right, thank you very much, Keith. That's political analyst Keith Leslie. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll take one more look at the polls, and Shelley Marriage will have the forecast.
He became the director of his life, and Exotica, an extraordinary travel crafter, made it happen. This Black Friday, book now and save up to 70% at exotica.com.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
We're traveling all across Canada to talk to people about their hearts. Who wants to talk about their heart? Let me ask you a question. Do you have AFib?
I don't know.
Kind of hesitated, like, how do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know? Let me show you something. Okay. This is called Cardia Mobile.
Okay.
Do you know what this is?
No.
That right there is a personal EKG device.
That's
Would you like to
great.
take 30 seconds and do an EKG?
Absolutely.
With Cardia Mobile, you can take an EKG in just 30 seconds from anywhere. Cardia Mobile is proven to detect atrial fibrillation, one of the leading causes of stroke. Cardia Mobile can also detect normal sinus rhythm.
How much do you think this costs?
Probably in the hundreds.
$99.
Oh, wow.
That could be cheaper than a tank of gas.
Taking an EKG anytime, anywhere has never been easier. Don't wait. Get Cardia Mobile for you or a loved one today for just $99 at cardiamobile.ca or Amazon.
These days at your local Legion, we're marching to the beat of a different drum. On a mission to support veterans, to have fun, and to welcome everyone to our ranks. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Legion. And as a member, you'll join thousands of others serving our veterans, our communities, and our country. Oh yeah, and our Member Perks program will save you thousands on shopping, dining, products, and services across the country. Join us at legion.ca.
Welcome back to our special U.S. election newscast. But before we get to that, we got one more final check on the forecast. Hey, Shelley.
Hey, well, overnight, very warm. Another night of above seasonal temperatures with a low of 17. There's a chance of showers after midnight. For the early morning hours, winds will be quite gusty out of the southwest. Precipitation to the far north with a system, and then that will affect the lower Great Lakes, as I mentioned, after midnight, but it will be short-lived. And then some sunshine tomorrow. We'll have one more day of above seasonal temperatures, then our winds will shift overnight tomorrow, and they will usher in some cooler air, which will bring us back to reality. So a high of 20 tomorrow, could have 22, 23 degrees in areas, 8 overnight, then a daytime high of 9 on Thursday. That's what it should be. Lots of high pressure setting up for some sunshine, clear skies, seasonal temperatures into the weekend. Sunday, there is a chance of showers and a little bit chilly overnight. You could see Thursday and Friday, 3 and 2 degrees, so very different. 17 overnight tonight, and 2 nights later, 3 degrees. There you go, only in Ontario. Monday, a mix of sun and cloud, a high of 10. 5 is our low, a little bit warmer on Tuesday. Sunny skies with a high of 13, and double digits overnight with a low of 10. That's it for me. Back to the desk.
Thanks so much, Shelley. Just before we go, one last look at the election south of the border. At last check, Trump was still in the lead with 227 electoral votes. Harris at 165. The magic number is 270. That's what the candidates are aiming for. So right now, Trump is closer to that target. These are projections and not official results, so still no clear winner.
And just a note before we go, you can tune into our newscasts and Morning Live wherever you go. Log on to CHCH.com to stream us live.
And that's this edition of the Evening News. Tune into Morning Live tomorrow starting at 6 a.m. for more as we continue to follow the U.S. election. Good night.
They better not have run out of chicken tenders.
Your mom decided to take her shortcut again.
Should have skipped it.
We should have skipped you.
Guys, first person to talk loses. Ready, go.
You're gonna lose.
Okay, you lost.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
To prove these underwear don't ride up, they don't bunch, and they stay in place all day, we're putting them to the ultimate test. Go!
The underwear didn't move? They didn't move. 200 kilometers an hour. They didn't bunch up, they didn't ride, and they stayed in place. Incredible.
How are your investments doing?
That was on purpose. You know that topic always throws me off.
Lots of people feel that way. But don't worry, BMO's got advice to spare with any investment guidance and support you need.
I need some.
And you'll get it with personalized investing recommendations to help you feel confident in your decisions.
I'm curious. Do you roll as good as you help?
Bowling mode.
It's yes, by the way.
Why does anybody do this? It's hard. And certainly long-term care is not pretty. There's something in our souls that do not feel full and alive unless we are in that helping role. Nurses are not frail or pushovers. If you can put up with what we put up with in a workplace, you can expect these people to stand up for what they believe in.
A message from the Ontario Nurses